Good. You won't forget it. All right. So we have played with coming to sit to stand, the relationship between the heel, the forefoot, the spirals, the movement into the pelvis, the whole sense of lifting, the movement of the foot and leg, all of this in the preparation for us to understand simply how to support ourselves. So now I'll take off my shoe for a moment. I don't know why I have these shoes on anyway, but here they are. Oh, I had the great good fortune of being a very tall baby, big baby, and in the late 40s and early 50s, they only had shoes that had hard soles for children. Yeah. And so still to this day, I don't like having my feet so much barefooted, even though I could be on the Aikido mat, and that was something I could develop. Okay, so here I am. And we started to play with the idea of the fourth metatarsal head, the heel. We lifted the inner edge of our foot. And you can see I'm lifting the inner edge of my foot, and it's that big a movement. It's only this little tiny movement, which means that my heel spirals back. And this whole thing begins to change the relationship of how my lower leg rests under the condyles of my knee. And that whole way that begins to speak neurologically into my knee begins to invite me to lift into myself. Yes? This is me coming away from the ground. Now, we're still having to find where my foot is. Yeah? I've said, we use rollers, we either use rollers specifically or non-specifically. There are specific ways that we can use rollers. Yeah? Now, two things. Yeah? I'll give you an example. So I make this movement, and you watch that this movement, as it begins to emerge, it's almost like you can see my leg lifting right into my pelvis and this movement coming through me. Yeah? Now, that's because I acquired that. That's not the way I would have done that normally. I would have done it normally with this. I would have normally made the movement with my low back and lifting my low back and taking my head away on this side. If I'm a baby, goo, 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 goo. My children were born like this. Yes. Tilted to the side, lying on the right side of their back. Which way will I go to the floor first? Gravity wins. Yeah? Now, I won sexual favors from my wife with the bets that we made. Which way will the babies turn to their stomach first? Now, are the babies going to go to their stomach on this side? When everything is flexed here? Now, some babies at this point in time will begin to lengthen from the flexion. Some babies will. But my two babies went this way. Here's the length here. Here's the flexion here. Here's the length here. And as I go, I'm already engaging my lower back. I'm already engaging my hamstrings. I begin to make the movement as my low back engages, then I start to have the entire tonic movement through my neck and spine. My head begins to lift, and if I could take this far enough, then I would come over myself in such a way that I would be up and I would be ready to crawl. And as I made the crawling movement, and you guys have done these lessons, if I was making this crawling movement and I was making this lesson, you watch. If I make this movement in such a way that I draw my knee, my femur up into my pelvis, what happened to the shape of my lower back? Did I increase the arch of my lower back? I didn't. Now what did I do? Did I increase the arch of my lower back? My lower back, my sacrum is now going that way, isn't it? Did my lower back increase the arch? So as the power of my back increases, what happened to my head? You guys learned that in the first lesson that we did. The first moment that you start to lengthen your legs, yes? And you're asked with your pelvis, when you tilt your tail, does it invite your head to drop or does it invite the head to lift? So that whole pattern of that extension. So what happens when I make this movement of coming up into myself so my low back gets powerful, where my leg touches the ground? Aren't I ready now to fire myself forward and up? Yes? That's what my babies did. This is the side they crawled on. The other side is the side that they rolled up to. Yeah? And so they had this completely different way of making this movement. Yeah? Now, for me, I would normally make this movement which way? I would normally make this movement to create that power in my back. The first thing that would move would be my low back engaging, not underneath myself. And again, how does a person initiate movement? Until I start to watch. Because if I make this movement here, I could make this movement and simply roll across myself. Or I can make this movement in such a way that this part of myself is so clearly known that I would simply lift myself. So there's a difference in the way that people make these movements, where they initiate the movement from. I make this movement, or I come across myself. And just as I start to make this movement of rolling, and I'm right here in the place that's not right and not left, and I start the movement, and as I start the movement, my first movement is to flex. And you see that here, where am I? I came easily onto my ribs. And then I come across myself, and where'd my head go? Up and away. Now, I don't have these ribs in contact with the ground, do I? My back and everything is ready to go here. If I get up in a hurry now, if I'm a samurai, I just died because I can't get up and go there. Because of deep implicit neural pattern within me that goes here and then there, as opposed to going there. So please attack me on this side. Yeah? Make sure when you attack me that you attack me on this side. I want to have a chance for survival. Because otherwise, oh, I already died. And it's a neurological phenomenon in the way that I have maintained an asymmetry within myself. Yeah? And until I understand that, I'm not going to find these ribs. And I wonder why sometimes a lesson is taught and I think, wow, that lesson was just for me. And then other times, God, that was so uncomfortable. It just didn't seem right. Yeah? So we have all kinds of questions to discover when we touch people. So here's what that I hope to do for a moment. So someone who'd care to be here for a moment? Okay. That's fine. Lie on with your feet here. So stand one foot or the other, whichever foot you wish. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, yes. And okay, so begin to make the movement of rolling your pelvis to the right. So what did you see? Stop again. The very first moment that she initiated the movement, what did she do? Which way did her knee move? Which way did her foot move? And if you were to draw a line relative to the movement, did it go across her? Did it go up? In what way did the movement go through her pelvis? This way? Did it go across? Did it go up? What did it do? So you go ahead and start the movement. Very good. Very nice. Now, she already improved with my questions, didn't she? She changed what she did because she kept her knee still. The very first time she did it, she took her foot and she rolled there. Now you can watch. She's rolling along, and she, at partway through the movement, go ahead, she makes a movement, and she engages something that begins to lift her pelvis relative to her leg. Yes? That happened, and then she made the movement. But if we watch carefully, so she makes the movement. Now, did she increase the weight in her foot? Yeah. So she increased the weight in her foot. Yeah? So now, how am I going to give her a more clear image of her foot? Even more clear than I've already given her, so that she can have a sense that her foot is profoundly available to stand on. And what part of her foot? Yeah, because I can put her foot on a roller, and I can roll her foot all over it, and she'll get up and go, wow, I have so much more contact with my feet. I really have so much contact with my feet. I'm really happy with this contact. When it has completely collapsed me, because I'm finding, I'm looking for a surface that doesn't support me. Okay, so now just for the moment, make the movement to the other side. That's it, great. And begin this movement to go to the left. Beautiful. How different was that initial movement? That movement was profoundly different. Start again. Watch. Yeah, it's almost no change in the weight in her foot. And it's almost like, can I have a left leg, please? A left skeletal leg. That's a right. I need a left. That's a right. Left, I'm sorry, I need a right. I'm sorry, it was my left hand, I'm sorry. I've been doing that more these days. I need a right leg. A right leg, please. That's it. That'll be the one. Thank you so much. So can you imagine in yourself, can you in 3 dimensions imagine, if I transpose this into her, what the support has to be, how she's going to transfer the weight up and through herself, and the way to which her femoral head is going to enter into the acetabulum to actually simply lift herself. Yeah? Can you imagine what it would take for her to do exactly what she did? As she started that movement on this side, go ahead and start the movement. It's as if she is underneath herself and she's lifting herself into the acetabulum. And she has so much power in this that, stay right there. Now, go a little further. Beautiful. Don't let me push. That's right. Now slowly sink. Good. And come back into my hand. Come back into my hand. That's it. Beautiful. And that's not changing the weight in her foot. All that is being organized by the way that she utilizes the thickest, most powerful muscles of herself. And here's her point of stability. She has the stability from which to move this. Yeah? Okay, so she's different on both sides. Yeah? Go with the partner, watch them make the movement one way, watch them make the movement the other way. Do not correct it. Just find what you do immediately. Okay, what happens first? Okay, just go with a partner for a moment and look at one and look at the other. Okay, thank you.